Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2016. My name is Colin Hemphill. I make up one half of the band Darkness. You have arrived at our YouTube channel one way or another, and I would like to invite you to look around and check us out, especially if you like electronic music, in particular of a nerdy variety. We do lots of 80s influence as well as modern electronic styles, lots of guitars, sad lyrics, that sort of thing. If you're into that, feel free to check us out. Now, in addition to the engineering that I do for the band, which amounts to recording guitars, vocals, things of that sort, and final mix downs during the production, I do a lot of audio engineering projects on the side. Have a bit of experience from my school days, going to Belmont University and recording there. And mostly these days it amounts to some volunteer work that I do at church. But as you know, church audio can be quite a challenge sometimes, and so I'm very excited about this new opportunity that I have to try out this microphone from Sennheiser. Now, this product I think came out April of 2015, so it's been out for a while. But Sennheiser was looking for some people to test it out and kind of share what they thought about it. So somehow they picked me, and it's awesome, and I'm really excited about the opportunity. So this is the Evolution series microphone. It's a wireless digital unit called the D1 series, and in particular, this one is the D1-835. So essentially, this is a digital wireless version of the E835 microphone that Sennheiser has had for a long time, which you're probably familiar with. It's kind of a standard dynamic cardioid microphone for live vocals. I think it runs $100 on Sweetwater or anywhere like that. You can get this one from Sweetwater. It's available at that and other retailers for like $700. And they have sets in the D1 series for other needs as well. So they have a wireless instrument set, they have a head mic, they have a lavalier mic. So whatever your needs may be, they've got some really cool wireless stuff that's out now. So you might be familiar again with the E835. I'd put it basically on the same level as some of those more common live dynamic mics that you would use, like the Shure SM58, of course. So it's not really the microphone itself that's spectacular or anything, but there is some really cool tech that's going into this wireless unit to make it really, really simple to use and really bulletproof. They especially say that this is a great system for specifications where you would need like 8 microphones running around on stage at any one time, and the automatic switching and the networking features and the ability to control this mic from an app and things like that just make it great for settings where you need a whole bunch of wireless mics. Now, I just have the one, so I haven't had the opportunity to check it to its full potential in that way. But I would like to show you kind of what I thought of this microphone and some of my experiences with it. So basically, I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the receiver and the features that you can set for the microphone, and then walk you through my experience with the microphone and actually using it in a live setting. So I hope you enjoy. Please comment, rate, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And again, check out our music if you have a chance. All right, so as soon as you get the receiver running, all you have to do is hit the pair button here, and you hit the pair button on the microphone, and it will take a few seconds to sync up, and you are pretty much ready to go. The only other physical buttons on here are a power button, an escape button, and this toggle switch. And pretty much this toggle switch will get us through everything. You click in to open the menu, and then jog it to go through. So the first menu is the audio settings. The first setting here is a low cut, which you can turn on and off. And you'll notice this across the unit that a lot of the details of these audio settings are hidden to the user. In fact, I looked through the manual and I didn't really see any specifics, so This low cut, we can probably guess is, it could be a roll off at 100 hertz or 200 hertz at 12 dB slope, but, we don't really know for sure. They're meant to just get some quick settings and to kind of help you out if you don't have the help of a console and outboard gear to get your mic sounding the way you want. So it's good for quick setups with simple PA systems too. But these are actually pretty helpful. So the low cut, we've got an EQ, which has a couple presets, and again, this is kind of vague. We've got settings like vocals, presence boost, mid cut, high boost, and then we've got effect settings like megaphone and telephone, acoustic guitar. Don't really know what any of these do, but you can guess. And they're kind of good for quick settings. But there's also a custom setting that will open up a graphic EQ, and we can change each band. The bands are set at 50, 125, 315, 600, 2K, 5K, and 10K. So you can get pretty fancy with that simple graphic EQ. So turn that off. De-esser, we have broad and selective. I didn't really notice much happening with broad turned on. I'm not exactly sure what it was trying to do, but selective definitely seemed to work better. It was grabbing all the selective aspects. Oh, I just realized this is going to be turning on and off when I'm actually messing with this, so I could show you. So this is the de-esser setting with the selective filter on. This is the de-esser with the broadband filter on. And this is the de-esser turned off. So we'll see if you notice any differences there. It's nice. I don't feel that this particular capsule needs much of a de-esser. It's, I don't know, it's pretty mid-rangey. Not really a whole lot of presence on the high end, and nothing really extreme. Maybe under certain circumstances or with a female vocalist, the de-esser would be more useful. But certainly, if I was using one of the condenser capsules, that would probably be pretty helpful. Now, this is the best part here: is the auto gain control. It's a basic compressor, and again, I don't know what the attack and release are for these compressors. I don't know what the ratio is. I'm assuming the threshold is going to be pretty solid since the microphone really has one use and there's not really a preamp or gain to mess with. So the threshold should work pretty well. But yeah, we have a hard and soft compression, and the dynamics seemed pretty solid when I had it on soft, which is when I ran my test run with this particular unit. I was using the soft compression, and it definitely did help with some of the peaks without being like too pushy. So it's nice that it has an auto gain control built in. I wish I had a little bit more control over it, or at least had a custom setting, kind of like the equalizer did. But for getting a quick compressor turned on, that's really helpful. And the console that I was using on the night when I got to test out this unit doesn't have any kind of outboard gear, no built-in compression, so it was super helpful. There's a reset. There is a level adjust in case you want to bring the level up a bit for your particular situation. And then we have an output type. It'll mimic mic or line level. And if we go back here, and you can also, of course, hit escape to go back, we have a couple other menu system settings. Are going to be like, can you lock the system? Is the mute switch on the microphone active? I guess I will pull this out real quick. So there is a mute switch built into the microphone, which is also helpful. Display brightness. help, system info, which will show you the firmware version as well, and factory reset, network settings. You can set up some network settings so that you can actually control each individual system that you have set up within your rig. My understanding is that you can use this to connect multiple wireless units to an application, Android or an iOS app, and have control over them. I really couldn't find much information about this. There was a little bit in the manuals that I looked through, but all hints that I could find regarding the Android and iOS applications, I couldn't actually find where those apps are. I couldn't find them in either store. So I really don't know how to set any of this up. And so I can't really tell how useful it would be, which is disappointing. I'm going to find this. Somewhere in here, yeah, there's a help menu. You can actually scroll through these help menus, and it'll be like setup guide, here's a QR code, and the link so that you can go actually look at that particular guide. And one says mobile app here, and if you go to Sennheiser.com/D1-app, it basically just takes you to the homepage for the D1 units, which isn't helpful. There's no link to the app anywhere. There's really only one mention of an iOS app on that particular page, but they're not in either store, so I really don't know what to make of that. So at the moment, it appears that the app functionality is not as robust as it should be, or at least it's really difficult to find information on how to set that up. So I didn't get a chance to mess with it. Hopefully that'll be improved in the future. But that's basically all there is to this unit. It's pretty simple. And there's also a walk test, which you can take the mic around and check the signal. And that's pretty much it. So like I said, I do a lot of church audio. And at my church, we currently don't have any wireless units. We're all wired, except for the pastor who has a Countryman. So this will actually be the first wireless unit we use. Man, I thought it would be really helpful to have a wireless unit because when the band's not playing and we have someone who comes up to maybe give announcements or something like that, we have to do that whole mic shuffle, which is the backup singer will, take the mic out and unravel it from the stand and pull the stand back, and then she has to hand it off to whoever's doing the announcements, and then, that guy will probably come up and hold it way down here, so while that's happening, I'm in the back, adjusting the gain and messing with the EQ to try to get it to sound decent, and it's not happening, and it's feeding back and all sorts of things. And then once he's finally done, you give it back to the singer. She has to wrap it back up to the stand, move the stand back, and this whole big mess. So I thought a wireless unit would be really, really nice to have for even simple situations like that. And if it's a good enough microphone, then we could use it for vocals as well, and whatever needs we might have in that regard. So I actually haven't had a chance to use this particular mic on a Sunday morning yet because of the holidays and everything. Just haven't been at church, been out of town and things like that. But I did have an opportunity to use it once in a live setting, and it was really crazy, and I think it worked out really, really nicely. So, as I said before, this made its way from Germany, and through a long trip, it finally got to my doorstep. And as soon as I got home from work and saw it on my doorstep, I picked up the box and I opened it, and I walked out the door to go to rehearsal for our Tuesday night young adult group. And I was like, this is insane. I just got this. It's still in the packaging and everything. There is no way I'm going to be able to set it up in time to actually use it tonight because I had rehearsal then, and I had to get audio set up and running and get us going right away. But as it turns out, I got there, and man, it was the easiest thing I've done. I basically opened the packaging, set up the receiver, got it power and things like that. And as soon as I popped the batteries into this, hit the sync button here, and we were set. Like, I immediately had signal from the mic to the receiver to the console, and we were pretty much ready to go. So I had signal at least, but I wanted to check out some of the audio features on this because I knew it had compression built in, I knew it had de-essing and some EQ. What I ended up doing was basically flipping through the menu, having never seen the menu in my life before. Went to the audio settings, turned on the low cut, I believe. I didn't turn the EQ on because I EQ'd from the board. The board is a real simple analog board. We don't have any outboard gear, including compression or anything of that sort. So I EQ'd from the board, but I did turn on the softer of the two options on the compressor, and I also turned on the selective de-essing. And yeah, I mean, it was stupid easy to figure out, and we immediately had a great sounding signal, and were able to use it that night right away. So this was actually, I mean, it was 5 minutes tops. Like, it was really simple. So that made it really straightforward. This was actually a special worship night that we were having for the young adult group. It was kind of an end-of-year wrap-up. It was the last one of the year. And so usually what we would do is we'd have 2 songs from the band, and it's a full band, except instead of a drum kit, it's a cajon. And so we'd have 2 songs usually. Then the pastor would come up and do a sermon. Then we'd have 1 or 2 closing songs. This night instead was basically we had like 8 songs to do, and in between the songs people would come up and talk about something that had happened for the year, or, you know, discuss upcoming things the next year. And it was just kind of this worship song, somebody talks, then back to some music. And to top that off, we kicked off the night with a rapper who goes by the name Malik. He's a member of our church, and he does some amazing rapping. And so he came up and performed a song. I was like, this is awesome. We actually have a wireless unit, so he can actually do his thing and explore the stage and all of that. So we actually got him set up first. Now I actually have a short clip of his performance. This was on my camera phone, so I wouldn't say to, you know, listen to it for its audio quality, but more so that you can kind of see the setup of the room that we were in, as well as you can hear how his vocal cuts through the mix in comparison to the backing track and all that stuff.
Yep, third eye, I've been really big from the right the last few days. My hazy, can't hear what you say. You magician like toupee, you fake. Am I crazy? And losers like Rose. I was under like trench coat, presidential, sweet. I'm a mentor, my info. Did it for my kinfolk, Lord, keep it simple. This is head to head, big liver Siamese, now I never see him. Demons can't be fed, death on the new seas, rock up with them. Look, Lord better, but the holy water like a priest. Simple for the holy ground, peace. Making the most of release, but we'll first never see. So I'm resting like East, more preach, I preach. Yeah, yeah. So high, you know I'm living on a prayer. Yeah, yeah. So high, you know I'm living mind open. You notice what I know. I keep my eyes open. Show me where to go. I can give you anything you like. Just look into my eyes. Hold up, let me get you free. We do hell in that. Forget what you want.
So yeah, there's Malik. I'm going to provide a big fat link right here because you should check him out. Really, really awesome music. Hope to do some collaboration with that guy in the future. Some dot.darkness and Malik crossover I think would be amazing. at least let us hit you up for a remix sometime, man. I think that would be awesome. Um, so anyway, he liked being wireless. I liked that we were able to just hand him a mic and be running with it right away. He cut through the backing track very well. He was able to hear himself in the wedges. I went up and checked while he was rehearsing, and it sounded pretty good up there. We got a great connection, and the setup was just dead simple. So I think it worked out really well for that part of the night. So as soon as Malik was done, he handed his mic to the pastor who was emceeing for us that evening. And then once he was done talking, he handed it off to our backup vocalist who used it during all the songs. And man, it just worked out really nicely. The audio quality was good. It was not necessarily like this is substantially better than the SM58 we were using. I would say it's pretty much on par. There were a couple sonic differences where I just had to change the EQ compared to the 58. And I also noticed that the plosives on this particular mic are pretty intense compared to a 58. I don't know if that's just the singing style had to change to compensate for it and we weren't prepared for that, or if it's just a characteristic of this capsule. But all in all, I mean, I think instead of having it dead on like this, you could probably come in at a bit of an angle like this and maybe improve the plosives a bit. We'll see when I get the recording back and listen to this if that helps at all. I haven't actually listened to that. I should have done that beforehand. But anyway, not a huge issue. So the sound quality was great overall. Not a major improvement over the 58, but having the wireless capability was huge for that night. And the quick setup and the connection quality were absolutely killer because we wouldn't have had a wireless unit that night if it hadn't been so easy to set up. And if it weren't just so easy to get a microphone paired with a unit. So all in all, I'd say this is a really, really great wireless unit. Highly recommended. The battery quality seemed good, and the setup and the connection quality seemed basically bulletproof. So I would be really curious to see how it sounds with some of the other capsules. I'm sure you could take this being a good microphone and with one of those higher end capsules and a condenser mic and things like that, could turn it into just a really spectacular live vocal microphone. So aside from that, I mean, we're basically using this thing for announcements at this point. I mean, it's more than enough for that, for sure. And if it could handle a crazy night where we have a dozen different people rapping, singing, and speaking between music and all of these things, and the level stayed consistent, and we didn't have any connection issues, and no battery problems, I mean, it does its job. So maybe we'll see this in some dot.darkness live shows in the future. But until then, it's going to be used every Sunday morning, I think. It's going to be really, really useful to have. So overall, D1 wireless series is really, really great. Highly recommended. So thank you guys again for checking us out. I've got some links, hopefully down here somewhere. You'll find them. Check the description if you don't see them actually on the video. To, first of all, the D1 series from our favorite retailer, Sweetwater. Definitely buy from them. They're really, really awesome. To this microphone itself, hope you'll check it out if you need a wireless microphone. Also to some of our own stuff at dot.darkness, as well as Malik for some great rap. Thank you again, and have a great 2016. Good night.